Welcome back to our special preview of FWD Champions Day. If you want to see a preview of the entire card, there's a good card as well on Sunday. Tune into Racing to Win. That's available on the website, the Hong Kong Jockey Club website, from about 6 o'clock on Saturday night. And Hong Kong Direct, Ed Sadler with the news on the weekend as well. That'll be on the website, the multimedia showcase from Friday evening. Next up for us, though, is the FWD Champions Mile. It's a local affair as well, headed by Beauty Generation, winner of the race last season, looking for the double-double, the International into the Champions Mile. He's drawn barrier 2. Conti from 7, who's chased him on his last 3 starts. Seasons Bloom, Hugh Bowman, barrier 6, Simply Brilliant. Singapore Sling, who jumped from 3 and 5 respectively. Rise High from barrier 4, and then Romantic Touch. Tony Cruz and Matthew Chadwick get the inside gate from barrier 1. We'll talk about the runners in a second or so. It's been quite a journey for Beauty Generation, quite a journey as well for his jockey, Zach Purton, as we find out as he sits down to talk with Ed Sadler.
The reason I wanted to come to Hong Kong was to further my experience and try and improve myself. I'd noticed that every jockey from Australia that had moved to Hong Kong and then gone back to Australia had come back a completely different rider, and they were the riders that were at the top echelon in our country. And I thought if I need to take that next step and get to the top of the tree, then Hong Kong was a place I needed to come to get the experience. I only ever initially thought I would come for 6 months, which was my original contract term. But I for whatever reason, even though I wasn't doing that well to begin with, I enjoyed the lifestyle here, I enjoyed the racing, and I decided to stick it out. I thought I got youth on my side, and I didn't have anything at home that was holding me back. I was able to give it a go for as long as it took, and looking back now, that was a pretty good decision.
Let's fast forward to 2013, 2014. Douglas White, up until that point, he'd been the 13-time champion jockey. You put an end to that. Where does that rank overall in your career?
Yeah, obviously right at the top. It was a special moment. I come back. I believed I could win the championship the season before, and unfortunately I got kidney stones towards the end of that season, and the operation was a bit of a disaster. And anyway, I ended up missing, I think it was six meetings or something right at the end. So I went from being 2 winners behind Douglas to about 15, and it was all over. But what it done was gave me the belief that I could do it. I then knew what it took, and I knew how to do it. And I come back that next season, I just put everything I had into getting the job done. It was a good feeling. Like I said, I put everything into it, and to be able to stand up there at the end of that season with the trophy was a special moment. You get
to ride some terrific horses in your role here in Hong Kong. Is Beauty Generation the best of them?
He is, yeah. His rating says that. He's just a fantastic horse. He's turned into a pretty straightforward horse. He's very, very good at what he does. He knows what he needs to do. It's probably the one thing that was missing from my CV was a horse of his calibre. I've ridden a lot of good horses at times and won a lot of big races and important races, but I've never had one horse of his calibre or quality that's been as consistent as he has for as long as he has, albeit it's only been 1 season now. It'd be nice for him to go and do it for 2 or 3 seasons. But he's definitely been the most consistent horse at that level that I've ridden in my career.
This is 100% pure Group 1 power. Beauty Generation 5 in front. Viv Lawson, Southern Legend. He is invincible, Beauty Generation.
Exultant lines up in the QE2 Cup for you as well on Sunday. You've won pretty much every big race here in Hong Kong, but it's one that eludes you still. Yeah,
it has. I suppose I made one bad decision at one time. I got off Military Attack to ride Ambitious Dragon, and it was the one that got away, but Ambitious Dragon should have won that race. I got knocked down at the 200-metre mark, so I made the right choice, but things didn't go right for me in that race. And then since then, I've been on a couple of horses that have finished close. I think I've been beaten ahead or a short head in the race twice, so I've been thereabouts. I've been knocking on the door. I sort of really feel like I haven't had that horse that I've gone into the race thinking I'm definitely going to win this, and because they're hard races to win as well. Exultant's not one of those horses I'm going into the race thinking I'm definitely going to win it. Obviously he's got a chance, but it's going to come down to barriers and the way the race is run. He's a good horse, but it's a strong race.
We'll come back to Exultants in due course. Let's deal with the FWD Champions Mile first. It's always dangerous to assume it's a one-horse race, but Beauty Generation has been unstoppable this season, and he's facing the horses that he's been beating all year, basically.
It's hard to find a scenario whereby something extraordinary might happen. Graham used the word before machine. Well, he's a relentless galloping machine, isn't he? I think he's one of those horses that he could run in a mile race anywhere in the world. I wouldn't care what the level of opposition was. They would have a mighty task to run him down. I think the fact that he's also so responsive that, Zach seems to be able to, just come back, big fella, and they'll go. It's hard to see him getting beaten.
We might get the opportunity on the world stage with Yasuda Kid, and that's possibly in the future, Graham. James Willoughby wrote a great piece on the website about Beauty Generation, broke him down into the sections, and that's really how he beats his rivals. He just gallops him into the ground in the middle part of the race.
Exactly, and Zach Purton always uses the word how he executes, and it's execute in more ways than one, because he delivers that sort of controlled power and aggression that's an absolute joy to watch, unless you're one of the horses or jockeys chasing him at a respectful distance. So he's been a wonderful advertisement for Hong Kong racing for a long time now, and it will be a shock to everyone if he doesn't win by clear daylight. He makes his own luck. He has that middle race speed that takes everything out of its comfort zone, and he hits the line as hungry as ever, even after 8 races this season.
I don't think anyone's waving the white flag completely, but a lot of connections have talked about just picking up as much prize money as they can. Conti's a very good horse. He's won 7 of his 12 starts, but he's clearly been second best or third best behind Beauty Generation. Is he next best, though, in the race?
I think he is, even though his last run was quite disappointing at face value. And drawing the outside, I think they have no option other than to go forward. I think he will probably be the horse trailing Beauty Generation. And I said to John Size this morning that he was very flat last run. And John Size said, well, I'm not sure that he was flat. He said, I suspect that he might have been a fraction underdone. Right. He said, I think he might have needed it. And he said, I think he'll run a better race this weekend.
Rise High, still very much on the improve, but this is another task for him. Seasons Bloom, back to the days of old, could be a danger, but we're clutching on straws.
Yeah, I think we are. I think it's Beauty Generation. The rest, it's very rare you say this, Andrew, in a Group 1 race, but you start to think, how much is per second? Yeah. Almost $4 million. And 1 or 2 connections, I'm sure we'll have that in mind. How do we ride our horse best to give ourselves maximum chance of getting the 4 million? And that's really intriguing for Conte, because if he bangs heads with Beauty Generation, he'll probably falter late on. But if he's ridden just off the pace and in a race within the race, so to speak, I think he has the better chance of picking up second.
Yeah.
But none of these other horses really naturally go forward,
no,
do they?
That's right.
Yeah.
Romantic touch maybe, but he might find things difficult. Singapore Sling, honourable mention for him, and probably Simply Brilliant as well. But in terms of the winner, Steve, I can't believe you're going to surprise me here, are you?
No, absolutely not. It certainly does look Beauty Generation's race to lose. I think Conti is probably the second pick, because I do think he will go forward. Seasons Bloom, he did run the best closing splits in the Chairman's Trophy. He was home in 21.96, which was pretty solid. I've always been in love with that horse, and I'm now starting to think he's a bit of a tease, Seasons Bloom, but he'll be finishing on pretty strongly again, and probably 4th pick would be Singapore Sling.
I'm going 1, 2, 6, 5. Beauty Generation, Conte. 6 is Rise High. I have a soft spot for him, and I think he'll be coming on quite strong later on. And Singapore Sling, who ran really well last time, and he's sort of back to pretty much his best now, I think.
Yeah, we'll sit back and enjoy that. The FWD Champions Mile and Beauty Generation could well go for shorter price favourite. Abel Friend did as well in 2015. He went off at 1.2. Pretty sure Beauty Generation might give that a nudge. 2 Group 1s down, 1 to go. The big one as well, the FWD QE2 Cup. That's up next.